Good afternoon, 11x1. I hope you're having a good day. I just want to repeat from yesterday how much I enjoyed the live teaching and the opportunity to speak to you directly. I know the technical side of it was a little bit muddled, but hopefully it'll go better next time. So I'm going to try and find a good lesson, a convenient lesson, for us next week to do the live teaching again. Otherwise, we're going to carry on with our study. We've got the final two lessons of the nonfiction study that we're doing. That's based around sport. And we're going to turn to that now. So, here we go. Beginning the lesson, let's turn to today's nonfiction text. It is, again, a sports text, specifically about cycling this time. And about women in cycling, written by a man. And it is intended as a funny text, to give something away here. Now, as we read it together, try and decide, is it actually funny? Or is it just a bit condescending? Or is it a bit rude? Or is it a bit frustrating? Intended as a funny text, what parts of what we read together do you think you find funny? Or what can you read that you know you might not find funny, but is probably intended to be funny? Can you identify those bits of text? So let's turn to the text now and read it together. Women and Wheels, from 1897. Every woman in London, apparently, is learning to ride the bicycle. The streets and parks echo to the cries of, I'm going, hold me back. You're all right, I've got you. Oh, don't leave me, I can't. Yes, you can, mind the curb. Don't look at your feet, you can't fall. Oh dear, what happened? It's all right. There you are, I knew it. Oh, that's nothing, you'll get used to that. Jump up. Mingled with the women are many middle-aged and elderly gentlemen, short of wind, but earnest of purpose. From inquiries I've made, I gather that, taking the average, a person can learn the bicycle in 6 months, provided they don't miss a single day. The lessons last about half an hour, and the charge is from £0.50 to 5 shillings. Indeed, I have serious thoughts of abandoning literature and journalism and becoming a bicycle instructor. I calculate that with fees and tips, and I am told that good-looking young men, possessed of agreeable manners and a knowledge of flirtation, receive a good deal in the way of tips, and the lending of machines worth £5 to the English aristocracy at 3 shillings an hour, I can secure an income of from 30 to 40,000 a year. Promenading a park with my arm round a pretty girl's waist is, I feel, the vocation for which nature intended me. The business would be less harassing than my present employment. The only thing I should miss would be the criticism. Next time I write to you, I shall probably address my letter from the Today Bicycling School, or from the office of the Idler Bicycling Club for Young Ladies. In the days when I learnt bicycling, 3 lessons at the most were considered necessary to a would-be rider. The bicycle, a depressed-looking machine, hired at the rate of 6p for the first hour and 3p for every hour afterwards, was led in triumph from its shed. You scrambled up onto it, and Tom on one side and Dick on the other pushed you gently along towards the crown of the hill. Our instructors did not assure us that they would not let us go, that they would hold us up at all hazards and keep us safe. They said, now we're going to give you a shove, so look out. And they did. And down the hill one went, shouting, I'll punch your head, Tommy Steggles, when I get you. All right, Dickie Jones, you'll be sorry for this. But the only response we obtained was the sound of laughter growing fainter, mingled with such encouraging cries as, Go it, legs! Have you got any sticking plaster? At the bottom of the hill there lay grass, upon which a gentleman might fall with ease and comfort, comparatively speaking, and in the distance one solitary heap of stones. You might have thought it difficult for an inexperienced rider to make direct for those stones. You might think he would have fallen before he reached them. There must have been magnets in some of them, or there must have existed a secret understanding between them and the bicycle. At one moment it looked as if the rider might get past them, but the stones would call to him, This way, please. You'd got to come. Better get it over. and then, with a quick and clever turn, he would dash towards them. But, as I said, on the third morning, he could ride. Okay, so once you've picked yourself up off the ground from laughing so much, we turn to the work. And what we're trying to do here is identify style, or specifically how an author achieves a style. And humor is often one of the most difficult things to write about, so it's worth taking some time to look at it. Even when I've been teaching language at A level, so with year 12 and 13, the ability for students to identify when something is funny, intentionally so, and how that humor is created has always been very challenging. And so for you to be able to identify that in a text under assessment is very useful. Now, I'm not going to spend too much longer here because you want to get on with your work. The work in front of you is pretty self-explanatory. So with activity 2, you're trying to identify where the humor is in the text using this grid here, which you'll find on the worksheet. So fill in a few more examples, finding the evidence in the text, why it might be funny, who is the humor pointed at, right? Who is he mocking here? And give it a score out of 5. 5 for very funny, 1 for not very funny at all. Number 3 is one that sadly should be done in a classroom and would be better with a partner. If you have someone you can bother at home, please grab them for this activity, otherwise do it on your own. And what you're looking at is trying to craft a sentence or two of your own that you can slide into the article and then read that whole paragraph and see if your insertion stands out or whether it blends in seamlessly. Can you write in the same style as Jerome? This is obviously useful for the Part B section of your nonfiction examination. Can you write in a very specific style as well? There's absolutely no shame in copying somebody else's way of writing. We're all developing and learning as writers. And then the final part is for you to look at a group of statements, to identify one of them that you feel is the most insightful, and then to write a paragraph or two, depending on how ambitious you're feeling today, in which you explain how these statements explain Jerome's success as a writer of comedy, because in his time he was a very successful writer. How does he create humor? Why do people enjoy his humor? And how do these statements maybe explain something about the way his text works? Okay, this is exactly the kind of writing you might expect to be able to do yourself in English language paper 2. And there you go, year 11. There's your work for today. A little bit of reading, a small amount of writing, hopefully a lot of thinking. Good luck with your work. Take care, keep healthy, keep safe, and I will see you tomorrow, lesson 5. Goodbye.